You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 372 for Sunday the 1st of August 2021.
Where dreams begin.
So, welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls podcast. Very good friend, local West Yorkshireite, the wonderful Martin Walker. Hello there, lovely.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm very good. It's wonderful to catch up with you.
You too?
I'm very excited because Martin is also going to be on the same Disney cruise as Caroline and myself. Whoop whoop!
Yay!
But, even more exciting, Martin's already been on the Mickey ship.
Yes, I have.
As well as a celebrity cruise. He's a bit of a Disney cruise expert, so I can quiz him for all the information I need. But also, Martin dabbles around and knows a little bit about travel as well, don't you, my lovely?
Just a little bit, yeah. That's my career. That's what I've fallen into and absolutely love it.
So just to remind everyone, what is the name of your travel agency and where can people find it?
Holiday Hamster is the name of the agency, and find us on all the socials or on holidayhamster.co.uk.
I love the idea that you put the hamster in the wheel and you do all the searching for people. It's great.
Yeah, and that was all our son's idea, so I can't take the credit for that.
Oh, Jake, you're a superstar. And while we mention him, he's just done a fantastic charity bike ride, so I want to give him a massive shout out. How much did he raise in total?
Over £600.
Wow. Well done, buddy. That was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, he was really proud of that.
Before we get into the cruisy goodness stuff, just talk to me a little bit about your family, your Disney, where you've been, what your favourites are.
Okay, well, we are now a family of three. So there's Hayley, my wife, Jake, our son, and myself. I have the Disney bug, and I was bitten at a young age. Back in 1985, when I was 5, I was taken over to Florida. Parents took me to Disney World at Easter. Mm-hmm. And from then on, I was just in love with Disney, hugging the mouse, and I've got some really vivid memories of that trip. Figment especially, he was someone that I absolutely loved, and there was even a picture of me on the front of the newspapers that used to go out to all the different hotels and things at the time. They used to do a daily newspaper, and there was a picture of me on the front kissing Mickey's nose.
So need that for some Instagram goodness, don't we?
Yeah, well, I've got to find it first. We've moved since, but yeah, I'm working my way through. We've just actually gone through some of the old VHS tapes and put them onto digital, so I'm working through those as well. So that's quite interesting. But as a family, when Hayley and I first met, our first holiday together was Disneyland Paris. I whisked her away there, and we spent 4 nights in the Castle Club at Disneyland Paris, thinking that it was a kind of a one and done thing. Hayley fell in love with it as well. So we decided that when we had children, Jake would come back with us when he was old enough. And we thought 5 was about the right time to introduce him, mm-hmm. But we couldn't wait that long. So it was his 4th. he was 4. When we caved in, and we took him there, and we have been numerous times now to Disneyland Paris. It's our local park, our home park. I love it because you can go there and the stresses of the world just dissipate as soon as you walk through the gates, and we're home. So yeah, it's a lovely experience, and we really enjoy the whole Disney thing from start to finish.
Perfect. Have you ever travelled across the sea to Walt Disney World or Disneyland?
Disney World, yes, we've done twice. Well, I've done twice. Back in 85 when I was first taken by my parents, and then we actually had a conference over there a couple of years ago, just before all of this madness, and we were lucky enough to go over, and we were actually hosted by, sorry, I'm washing my mouth out, by Universal. For the period. That was something else as well, actually, because we had some very special moments in those parks, including a private lunch in Diagon Alley, which
Oh,
was something else. It really was. But on our day off, we decided that we had a choice of what to do. We decided, we've got to head for the mouse. So we went and spent some hours in the Magic Kingdom. Then we park hopped to Animal Kingdom. And then from Animal Kingdom, we went to Epcot and finished off with some lovely fireworks. And yeah, it was a really good, very cold day for November. It was absolutely freezing at night
no.
around the lake, but it was an experience. The wife's actually been to Disney World many more times than I, because she used to volunteer with a charity. Well, she still volunteers with them, but the charity used to do a trip called Destination Dreams, where they would take children with terminally ill prognosis and their families across to Disney World to give kids the world and to have a week making magical memories together. And Hayley was one of the volunteers that could enable that to happen. So she got to go over there 6 times on top of our visits as well.
Oh, how wonderful. How wonderful. Right, so that's your Disney.
Yes.
So let's think a little bit. When the announcement came out, you probably will have got advance warning, being in the industry that you are, and you heard, oh, there's going to be these staycations. Did you immediately think, yeah, got to do it before you got any information? Or did you basically think, oh, I'm not sure? So just tell us a little bit about why you went ahead and booked the first one you did.
In our eyes, there was no question that it was something that we wanted to do, as long as it was suitable and it was done in such a way that everybody would be safe, because obviously the current times, everything is changing so fast. But as soon as the information came out from Disney and they started to flesh out some of the details, it was apparent that they were taking everything extremely seriously, and it seems as if they're actually using these to prove to the CDC that they can work and they can continue to make magic on the ships, even through these funny times. We straight away wanted to get involved in that, and there was a lot of uncertainty about when they would start. So the dates changed a few times, the ports changed, but we were still interested in wanting to go. And the first one that we looked at was one of the 4-nighters, which is the one that we're actually going on.
Fantastic stuff. So let's go back to the cruise that you've recently taken.
Yes.
Tell us all about it. Everything.
Wow. Where to start? We sailed from Liverpool on a 2-night sailing Disney Magic. From start to finish, it was Disney through and through. It really was. All the cast members and crew were phenomenal. They were smiley, they were happy, they're always excellent, because we've done Disney Cruise before, and the service for the Disney Cruise Line does go over and above and exceeds normal Disney expectations. But for this one, especially because there'd been such a long time in between them being able to serve, they've all been at home and doing their own thing. Some of them have actually stayed on the ship, but they've not had guests to entertain or to look after, and you could tell that us being back meant so much to them. Things were done slightly differently. Masks were worn when you were moving about the ship or inside. If you sat down eating, drinking, or if you're out on deck, then they weren't necessary. But it didn't feel like an imposition.
Okay.
It really didn't. We've kind of got used to them anyway in society to some extent, but yeah, it just seemed normal. Only things that were kind of different this time to the normal Disney cruise were that we had to kind of book slots in advance for various things. So when the check-in opened, and check-in for these cruises actually opens at 30 days, irrespective of how many times you've cruised with them before. So sometimes you get some benefits being in the Castaway Club of being able to check in before and get some extra bits and bobs. The actual check-ins themselves for everybody is 30 days. And then at that 30 days, you get to book the shows and the gym and a few other bits and bobs. They are looking at relaxing that depending on the legislation within the UK, and some sailings going forward might not need to have booked them, or even if you have booked them, then there might be some wiggle room in whether you actually go to that particular show or if you can go to another, and so on. The theatre, the cinema, they were all socially distanced, so you would have gaps in between each of the families that were sitting there. The food, where do I start with the food?
You're on a 2-night cruise then, so what restaurant, because there's 3 restaurants, isn't there, on the Disney Magic, so which restaurants did you get to enjoy?
So our first night was Animator's Palette. We couldn't have asked for a better one. Obviously with Disney, the servers that you get, the serving team that you get, stay with you throughout the rotational dining. So they will follow you to each restaurant each night and then be with you to look after you. The way it's working on these cruises is exactly the same. You've still got your serving team, but for the 2-nighters, you do the 2 restaurants. So for us, it was Animator's Palette and then Rapunzel's. And then the breakfast on the morning that we were leaving was Lumiere's, so that we got to experience all 3 of the restaurants.
Oh, that's nice.
So and they did that with all of them. So anybody that had done the other restaurants always got that 3rd one on that leaving day, the departure day. So that was quite a nice little way of doing it as well, because some people were very worried about, I'm going to miss my favourite one, or I'd really like to see this. But what they also found was that for breakfast and lunch, they were open anyway for general service during the cruise itself. So it worked out quite well.
Perfect.
And could go and see them.
Let's dig into the food, Martin, because you know it's all about the food.
Yes,
I know from being on a previous Disney cruise that you can do this. How many additional entrees did you manage to consume? Because they come up and they say, try this, and you literally could have 57-course meals.
You could. We were actually quite good on this one, but we did have a few extras. So, I mean, the first night, like I say, was Animator's Palette. There were so many different things that they kept putting in front of us that we just kept eating until we were ready to pop.
Stretchy pants.
That's exactly what you need when you're on.
All about the elasticated waistband. Ladies that are out there that are listening will understand. I have got all my outfits sorted, Martin, and every single one has got an elasticated waist just to be prepared for all the courses.
That is a top tip, and for blokes too. So, the maternity pants are great. But yes, it was. I mean, the food was phenomenal. We now have thanks to a friend of ours, Mark Peter, we now have a tradition while we're on the cruises, and that is that whenever you're in the restaurant in the evening and you're looking at the dessert menu, you ask for a side sundae. So they'll bring you the sundae as well as whatever dessert you have. So it's quite a nice way to try another dessert, and it's rude to say no.
It is. It's just like, do you know what? I can't choose which dessert. Can I just have them all?
Yeah. And we found that Hayley would have one, I'd have another as well, and we'd sometimes kind of eat half and then swap and do things like that as well. You find that when you're there and you see somebody else's food arrive, you're like, that looks lovely as well, and you just want to. Everything is just top class on the ships.
So that's your evening meals. I believe Cabanas is doing things a little bit different. Could you talk us through that?
It is, to an extent. It's still the buffet. Mm-hmm. It's still the brilliant quality that it has been and continues to be. The only difference is, instead of you helping yourself, you've got a server there behind the counter, dinner lady school style, if you like, putting it onto your plate, whatever you choose to have. But if you want 100 nuggets, they will put 100 nuggets on your plate. They will just serve whatever you want. So there's no limits on it. There's no restrictions, nothing getting in the way. It's purely for a health and safety reason that they will take your plate around and get what you need, give you that, you take it back to your table, and you're away.
Is it open breakfast and lunch?
Yes, for lunch. Breakfast, I think so too. I didn't actually experience that for breakfast. What did we do for breakfast? I can't actually remember what we did for breakfast. Lumiere's both times. Because it was, we did Lumiere's both times because we fancied a proper sit-down thing. I had Mickey waffles on the first one, which was, that was lovely. That was the side Mickey waffles to go with the to go with the full cup breakfast that I'd had as well.
Was it quite an emotional experience having that Mickey waffle brought to you? Because it really hits you home that you're at Disney.
Yes, yeah, it was a long awaited. That's for sure. But it came with a little pot of fruit and some. There was like a strawberry cream with a strawberry on top as well. So it was that was delicious.
Right, that's breakfast every day sorted then. And on top of that, you get the option of ordering room service to your room for a pre-breakfast breakfast, if you like, as well.
You can indeed. Room service now, when it was originally mooted, the room service they were looking at kind of limiting the hours. But by the time we got on board, it was 24 hours. You can order anything from that room service menu, and it's with you usually within 20-30 minutes. So that's a good way of experiencing some of the food and things there.
Do you have to pay tips for that? I believe you do. And how are you doing it?
There's a room charge added for anything that you buy. So just a small tip for the person that brings it to your stateroom. Mm-hmm. However, the way that the tips work on all of this is very similar to before. So you order, say you're at the bar, you order your drinks, you'll get your receipt brought to you by the cast member, and underneath you've got the automatic gratuity added anyway. Mm-hmm. On alcohol and things, and you've also got in the shops you've got 20% VAT added. Thank you, Rishi.
Boo.
But that's something that happens automatically. I mean, there'd be tax anyway on the ship on most of the things anyway, but it's slightly more than it would have been. But for the gratuities, there's a little bit just at the bottom of the slip for you to add anything extra which will go straight to your server. That then gets added to your room, and you can settle your stateroom account however you want, whether you want to do it cash, card, whichever way is better for you. But if you do it by card, here's a little tip. If you're using a card that doesn't charge any fees, for example, so there's not being paid for this, but there's Monzo, Revolut, you've got NatWest that doesn't have any exchange rate fees. Mm-hmm. But if you do that, Disney are actually giving you 2% back to kind of compensate for any of the exchange rate fees that you would have paid. You could actually end up getting a discount if you're using one of those prepaid cards or one of the cards that's got low exchange rate fees. So that's quite quite a handy thing to know, especially if you spend as much as we did. We got a fair amount back on the last day, thanks to Jake enjoying the shops.
Yay!
Hayley with Dooney and Burke.
Oh, did you do some damage?
She said she did some damage on my wallet, yeah.
Yay! That's what wives are for.
Yeah, I keep being told that.
So we've mentioned about the food. We've touched on about the merchandising, that there's amazing stuff available on board. Right. You touched on the bars. Do you actually have to go up to the bar to get service, or because before they normally walk around and say, "Oh, do you want another drink?" and things. Is that now kibosh because of COVID?
No, it's kind of exactly the same, apart from they prefer you not to go to the bar. They would like you. So when you go to one of the bars, whether it's the D Lounge or the Promenade or one of the Keys or whatever, they prefer you to kind of take a seat first, and then they'll just come over to you, take your order. You then wait a couple of minutes, and the drinks suddenly appear with your nice smiley cast member, and you're away. It's really simple. There were enough of them there to deal with it when it was busy, but to be honest, the whole ship, because it was maxed at 1,000 guests, so it didn't feel at any point overly crowded. I mean, to be fair, we've been on it when it's been full, and it still didn't feel overly crowded. But these were more so. There were times when you could be walking around and it would be almost like a ghost ship. So you'd be able to get some fantastic pictures of the ship, the atrium, all the different things they've got to offer.
Fab. On the cruise, did Jake manage to utilise the children's clubs?
A little bit, yes. He's at an age now where he's kind of just in between. So he's now 13, just old enough to go to the Edge Club, which is on deck 9. It's an open house for the Edge kids, so we didn't have to book any slots or anything like that. But for the younger ones who wanting to use the Oceaneer, whether it's the Oceaneer Club, the Oceaneer Lab, you do need to kind of pre-book that. However, whilst a lot of people were worried that they hadn't pre-booked anything before the ship, when they got on board, there were a lot more spaces available, and they just seemed to keep opening them up. So as long as there was the flexibility there for them to do that, and they had enough cast members, then they were happy for the kids to go in and enjoy the clubs. Jake this time wanted to spend a lot of time with us and a lot of time kind of exploring the ship and doing some of the family game shows that they've got on. They've got 7 different game shows on throughout throughout the trip, and they're all family orientated. There are some extra ones in for the adults in Fathoms later on at night, but during the day we've got these 7 game shows, which are all repeated as well numerous times throughout your cruise, so everybody gets a chance to see them. If you go along to any of these game shows and just hang around till the end, then you might get an odd surprise or two appear for a photograph.
Ooh, that is a top tip.
It is. We got a few like that.
I have never been into any of the sort of like family environments on the cruise ship, because we tended to stay to the bars after 9 o'clock where they become an adult zone. So that will be interesting to be able to check that out, to be honest.
Absolutely, and they've got them all during the day as well. One thing they're doing slightly differently again is the navigator. So if you've cruised before, you'll know that every day or the day before, you tend to get a paper navigator in your room for you to plan out the day, telling you exactly what's on when, where you can go, the characters you want to hunt down, the drinks you want to have in certain bars, all of the information like that. The paper navigators have now gone, and everything is now done on the app. What they're trying to do is encourage everybody to use the app as much as possible. So when we boarded, the first question we got, and we actually boarded at the front and we came in through Fathoms itself. The first question we got was, have you got the app? Yes, great, okay. If you go wait over there with my cast member friend, they will make sure that you're connected to it, create an account if you need to create an account, and you're away. Now, it's a very simple process to get everybody on board, but once you're on board, everybody in the stateroom links to each other automatically, so you can use the chat facility on there. If somebody's added something to the planner, then it adds it for everybody, so you can see that everybody's what everybody's doing. You don't obviously have to go to those, but it gives a good idea. And it's got the full list of everything that's happening on the ship from right then all the way through until the end of the cruise. And the other thing with the app, which I found really useful this time, was you can actually view your bill on the app, and it breaks down everybody that has used the key on your the key to the world to charge to the room on this bill. So you can see, I could see what Hayley had you, or where Hayley.
You could track her movements for the day.
Well, almost. But it was good because we could keep an eye on the amount and make sure that if it was getting too much, because when it gets to $300 for a standard stateroom, then they take the amount from your chosen method, or they block you from spending. So it's good to make sure that you've got either you've got a card linked to it, or that you're keeping a close eye on it, so that it doesn't stop you from the embarrassing, oh, sorry, we can't take this card, you've now got to go to guest services and sort it all out. So having that bill facility there was a good way of kind of keeping track of everything for us. So I quite enjoyed that.
So skirting back to you mentioning the app, we're
Yes.
sailing in British waters, I believe, dependent on which port you're going from. Talk to me about internet, because we're all glued to our phones. What works, what doesn't, what should I be doing with my phone?
Okay. First off, Internet with Disney is one of the most expensive things you can purchase on the high seas. And that's talking out of all of the cruise lines. It is phenomenally expensive. I don't understand it. Disney, if you're listening, please sort it out. I was on a previous cruise 2 weeks prior to this one, and it was for high-speed internet for one device. It was $9 per day for unlimited, and that was fine. For Disney, it's about $120 for a gig, and it goes down very quick.
Wow.
Very, 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 very quick. In fact, no, it's not. It's not a gig. It's 100 meg. So yeah, it's crazy prices, and it's not that cracky either. So they need to sort that out. But one thing I will say is you don't really need the internet when you're there. What you do is you put your phone in airplane mode and you forget about the world outside. You connect to the guest Wi-Fi on your device, and that allows you then to use the app wherever you are. And you can use the chat facility on there to chat with anybody within your stateroom. If you happen to meet somebody you know or somebody you want to chat to later on, everybody has a unique number within that app. So you just give that number to them, and then you can add each other as friends, if you like, and talk away. But you get all of the features from the app itself on the guest Wi-Fi. You can also use Messenger, so iMessenger, and WhatsApp intermittently on the guest Wi-Fi. So some things photographs don't go through. It's purely text, but some send through straight away, some take a while to go through. So it's kind of a hit and miss, but it's something to bear in mind. One of the downsides of the coverage within the Wi-Fi network there, I would say, is, say you're in Rapunzel's and then you decide you want to go to deck 9. That's great, that's fine, but the problem is you'll have to reconnect when you get to deck 9 because it doesn't always take you from one part to the other seamlessly. So it's not a complete mesh Wi-Fi system. It needs a bit of updating, but as long as you're aware that sometimes it kind of comes off, disconnects or doesn't work as well, then just keep an eye on it. So if you happen to change locations on the ship, just keep an eye on your connection and make sure you are still connected, and then the app works fine.
Top tip there. You mentioned the muster drill. You wanting to come back to that. Explain how that's been modified in terms of COVID.
The muster drill now is brilliant. Absolutely better than it's ever been. Before, you would have to, at 4 o'clock, everyone be on the ship. You would then have to make your way to your muster station part, whichever letter that corresponds to your stateroom you'd have to head to. You'd all stand shoulder to shoulder, all squeezed up, all in this thing. This is your lifeboat that you're going to be getting on if the worst happens. Everybody from the staterooms had to do that, and there was like a roll call. And until everybody was there, everybody else had to wait around. So it could be quite a long-winded thing. You would then have, while you were there, you would then have the announcement over the tannoy, what to do in the event of emergency and where your life jackets are and so forth. Now it's so much easier. You board the ship, you sort out your app and you get everything sorted. Then you are ushered through into the atrium for a welcome on board. And then from that welcome, you are then directed towards your muster station. At the muster station, there's a little video on your app to watch and a couple of things for you to agree with. You then make yourself known to the cast member there. You take a picture of your using the app. Just one person from the family needs to do that. And you take a picture of the letter and the muster station that you're on, and you're done. And then at 4:30, they play the tannoy announcement with the information, just the verbal information again, so that everybody can hear and go through those same things that you would have done where you were at the muster stations before, but you don't have to be there. You could be in your stateroom, you could be in a bar somewhere, wherever you want to be, but it's so much easier, and it actually freed up a lot of time, because that can prohibit you, or previously it really did kind of restrict what you were doing on the ship, whereas now it's done as soon as you're on, and then you're away.
Perfect. And it is an important piece of safety that you need to go through, because heavens forbid we're all running around like headless chickens should the worst ever happen.
Oh yeah, and it's an international legal requirement, so it's something that you must do, and if you don't do it, they know about it and they come and find you, and they won't set sail until everybody's done it. So so it really is important that you get it done. But once it's done, it's out of the way, and that's it. You can forget about it and enjoy your trip.
Perfect. Talk to me a little bit about the cabin that you had on this trip.
Okay, well, this one we had a veranda. We were on deck 6, midship. It was exactly as I remember from being before. So there were the 3 of us in the stateroom. This time, I remembered that there's room under the bed, because before, and Hayley forever reminds me of this. But when we went before, spent some time making sure that the cases were in the wardrobe and fitted very snugly, all of them into there. It was pointed out afterwards that there was actually a lot of room under the bed for the cases, which would have meant more room for the clothes in the wardrobe and everything else. So this time, that was the first thing that was pointed out to me, and we unpacked and put the cases under the bed, and we were away. In the room itself, you've got the double bed, which is extremely comfortable and is great for sleeping in. Mm-hmm. Not so good for getting up in the morning in, because you just want to stay in it. But yeah, it's a really soft bed. There's a curtain that separates the 2 areas, if you like, of the cabin. Jake had there's a couch that converts into a bed. It can convert into a double bed if you want it to, or you can get some of the staterooms have bunk beds that come down from the ceiling as well. But Jake just opted for the one on the couch. Yeah, again, very comfortable. He enjoyed that. There's a very big dressing table for people to sit at and get ready, which is extremely well lit. There's a TV in your room which gives information about the ship, what's going on with the planner and things. You've got TV on demand for as many Disney things as channels as you could want. There's also a split bathroom, which is a really good thing to have on the ships. By split bathroom, what I mean is instead of one room with everything in, you've got two separate rooms. The first one has the toilet and the sink. The next one has the sink and a bath and a shower, or something along those lines. It makes getting ready much easier, because you can kind of split the time between you, and you're not falling over each other in the bathrooms and that. So that's quite a good thing for the Disney cruise ships to have there. Where we were midship, it was perfect just for getting straight onto into the lifts or down the stairs, either up a few decks to the pool and so on, or down a few decks to the restaurants and the main atrium and various places from there. So being in the midship for us is the perfect place to be.
Yeah, perfect. So it sounds like you've had an absolutely amazing trip on the Disney Magic there. You did go on a different cruise line. How do you think that Disney stands up in comparison to that?
A couple of weeks prior, we'd gone on the Celebrity Silhouette for its inaugural sailing around the UK, again, a staycation. Unlike the Disney ones, which are currently picking up at the port, sailing around in a few circles and then coming back to the port, the Celebrity actually stopped at a couple of different ports throughout we were on for 6 nights. Mm-hmm. However, because of restrictions, you could only get off and explore the cities. So there was Dover, Liverpool, Belfast, but you could only get off and explore the cities if you were on an escorted tour, because they wanted to keep everything as COVID compliant as they could. Mm-hmm. Now, we opted just to stay on the ship. Again, it's a similar size to the Magic, is the Celebrity Silhouette. So they have around 3,000 passengers capacity. For the one that we were on, the sailing that we were on, it was maxed at 1,000 again. There were 950 staff on board, so it was almost a 1-to-1 that we had. There were only 6 under 18s, so Jake was treated like a king. And of course he got to try out a few of the things as well that they were wanting to try, some of the games and things like that. So he had a wonderful time. In fact, we all did, because it was great to be away. The staycation we did was only 2 nights. If anything, I think that was slightly too short. It was great to get the Disney magic back in our lives, but I think it really the 2 nights should be a 3-nighter really as a minimum. But that's going forward and my personal view on that. How they compare, it's like trying to compare apples and oranges, because they're 2 totally different experiences. The protocols were very similar.
Mm-hmm.
In that it was, again, masks while you're moving around, not required outside, not required when you sat down or eating, things like that. The Disney one had just that extra Disney touch to it, as they always do. Obviously, with the Disney one, you've got the characters, which was a big thing. We haven't actually mentioned yet the characters.
Oh, how can we miss out a really important part of the cruise?
They're being done slightly differently, and it's being tweaked here and there throughout as well, depending on the cruise that you're on. So by the time we go in a few weeks' time, it might be totally different to how it is now anyway. But what they're doing is they're having physically distanced photographs with characters, but there's 36 different characters on the ship, and they are available at various points multiple times throughout the whole sailing. So if you want to see characters, there are characters galore. There's princesses, there's Marvel on board, which some of which have not been seen before on the cruise ships, or certainly in the British waters. We've got the Woody and Jessie, who you can go and meet in their setting in the Oceania, and they have an open house, and you can go along and you can have your photographs taken with them. There's the Green Army Men, there's Joy from Inside Out, there's the princesses, of course, Rapunzel and Belle, and yeah, there's so many different ones. Some of the photo spots work out better than others, and I think, like I say, it's all a trial and error, I think, really, to see what works and what doesn't. If you want characters, they're meeting everywhere. They're in the atrium, they're in the theatre, they're in Fathoms, they are even up on deck 10. There's some of them. They're all over the place. So if you are a character hunter, there's various different ones to see, and each day they're in different attire as well. So you can always get some good shots of them, and hopefully yourself with them as well.
Fantastic.
So yeah, the characters sets it apart from the ship on that. One of the other major differences as well between Disney cruises and any of the others, well, there's a couple. Firstly, there's no casino on a Disney ship. I love that, because I'm not tempted. But it's nice to actually just not have that. If you fancy the thrill of losing some of your money, then there's always the bingo to go to. Otherwise, it's a gambling free ship, which is great, because the focus on the Disney ships is families. It's a wholesome time, it's a good time, and it's not about taking your money from you in a game of blackjack. So that's good. One of the other things as well is the fact that the serving team, I think I mentioned before, you get your serving team, and they will go with you from restaurant to restaurant as you experience all the different ones. But by the time you've had a little chat with them on the first night, they know you, they get you. They know what drinks you're going to like. They know what food you're going to like. They will do anything that you want to make your meal in the restaurant as enjoyable as possible. If that means that you have your side sundaes waiting for you when you get there, then brilliant. I mean, for Jake, he didn't want eat off menu because he's a little bit of a fussy eater when it comes to things. So he just chose burgers and chips and nuggets and hot dogs and all sorts of different things. But he knows what's on the ship, so he just ordered what he felt like, and they were more than happy to to deal with that and bring it out to him, and that was good. The serving team remember what drinks you like. They remember how you like your steak. Everything is done, and you are the centre of their world for those few nights when you're on there, and that really does make a big difference, because with the celebrity, we were eating different places every night. It was different. It was always different servers, and I've got a nut allergy, so I had to say each time, yes, I've got this. Whereas for the Disney one, they knew. They knew straight away, and they didn't even need to keep asking anything like that. So that was good, and they steered me away from dishes that wouldn't have suited me. So that was a good thing. The entertainment as well on board. There was some good entertainment on the Celebrity Cruise. I'd doff my hat to them. They were really good, but it wasn't Disney.
that must just be the thing. It wasn't Disney. It was good, but it wasn't Disney.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the whole the show in the theatre is Disney Dreams. It's something that we'd seen once before on one of the sailings, but it was great to see it again, to see all of the different characters and the whole show just knitting together lots of different Disney stories from right from the beginning all the way through to current day. And yeah, it was a real good hour of sit down fun and laugh, sing along, just lose yourself in the show, and it's what Disney do best. It really is.
All these cast members get the opportunity to be rewarded, because tipping in the cruise industry is very, very important. You can prepay or pay at the end. Talk to me a little bit about how that's working at the moment in COVID times.
Some people might not be aware, but the wages for people on the cruise lines is not great. It's an industry problem. It's something that I've got some very strong views on, but I won't particularly go into those here. However, it's the done thing to tip people just to kind of top up their wage on the cruise. What we did, in fact, what we've done for all of these cruises is we've prepaid our gratuities. So when we've booked the cruise, we've also added on the prepaid gratuities, which is kind of the amount that they suggest that goes to each of the people that looks after you throughout your stay. So you've got your stateroom attendant, your head waiter, your waiter, your the assistant waiter, all the people that look after you throughout your stay. There's a list of those that are of how much they should get. That's something that we'd done. We'd prepaid them already. Now, if you haven't prepaid, they get added to your stateroom automatically, and you can go to guest services. The best thing to do is actually make an appointment through the app with guest services, and you can go along and you can adjust them upwards if you feel like they want any extra. On your final night, you get an envelope with some slips, and you can just put the slips into the envelope, and then if you want to put any extra cash in, you can do that, or say if you wanted to adjust it on the system with guest services, they can do that for you. As you're going along throughout your sailing, what you can do is also, when you're say you're in a bar and the waiter's brought over your drinks, and if you happen to get Ramon like we did, who was completely entertaining and kept us laughing for the whole evening, you can, when you get your receipt at the end of the thing, just to sign for it to get onto your stateroom, there's the opportunity for them to add some extra gratuity if you wish. That'll go straight to your server. One other thing I'd like to say is it's not all about gratuities as well. So if perhaps you're doing the cruise on a budget, you've prepaid your gratuities, but you don't necessarily have a lot more to tip throughout your cruise, make a note of the cast member's name that's impressed you. Make a note of, take a photograph of the badge, for instance, or ask them. Just have your notes open in your phone and make a thing. Go to guest services at the end of your time, but write a guest compliment. The cast members that get those compliments, not only do they realise the recognition they get, but it goes straight to the cast member. The heads of their department then they know that they're doing things right. They are appreciated for it. It really does help them to get those cast compliments.
That also applies to when you're in the theme parks as well. You can also do the cast compliments, and I think people who've done it in the theme parks don't really appreciate you can also do it on the cruise line. So it's really important that we just, give those levels of thank yous. But are you able to leave little goodie bags in the room like I have done on past trips?
On these cruises, it has been recommended that not, actually, just because of COVID times. So it's more of a case of kind of cash and that can be US dollars. It could be sterling if it's paper. Add it onto electronically. They're suggesting there's a few things that they've said you can't do on the cruises. Leaving bags for people, little gift bags, and even if it's all pre-wrapped and things. As much as they'd appreciate that, it's something that we've been told not to do.
Okay.
Whilst magnets are allowed and encouraged on your doors, if you've not cruised before, then this might be something new to you. But the doors to your stateroom are magnetic. What a lot of people do is they'll get magnets made up and they will decorate their doors accordingly. That's absolutely fine. That's encouraged at the moment. However, the fish extenders, which was the exchange of gifts between different staterooms and groups and things, that has been, I don't want to say banned, but yeah, it's as good as. So you're not allowed to do that within the thing either. So there's a few of your regular cruising things that you would do that unfortunately they're suggesting that you don't do quite just yet.
Okay, well that sounds like you had an absolutely amazing family holiday, Martin. Thank you ever so much for sharing all of that.
Welcome.
Let's now look forward, because we are going to be on the same cruise ship.
Yes, we are.
And we are doing 4 nights.
Yes.
From Southampton. There's going to be a big group, I gather.
There are a few of us on this one, yes. Yeah, there's 10 adults and 2 children on it.
Wow. And hopefully we might be able to link things up so that we can dine together, do some tastings, do Paolo together. So we're all very excited about this.
Absolutely, that's something that we're trying to do, and Disney again are being quite flexible with that. When we went on the cruise, it was a maximum of 6 passengers per table. However, they're looking at relaxing that now because things have been relaxed by the UK government, and therefore they're taking their lead. So hopefully we'll be able to have a larger table and all dine together. If not, then we'll make sure that the tables are close to each other, and we can all enjoy each other's company just from next to. So, but yeah.
I mentioned Paolo. Talk a little bit about Paolo.
Paolo is the creme de la creme of the dining experience in the Disney Cruise Line. It's an additional. It's what they call a premium experience. So you go and you can pay to go, but when you're there, then you've got a few different options of some of the best dishes that you will ever have tried or tasted or anything. They are phenomenal. They do 2 different types of sittings in Paolo. So Paolo's actually on the top deck of the Magic, and it's at the back of the ship and overlooks the wake of the waves. As you see, there's glass all the way around, so you can see out and just enjoy the views. There's 2 different seatings that you can have. There's either the brunch or there is the evening meal. So if you do the evening meal, then it means obviously that you're going to miss out on one of your rotational dinings. I wouldn't suggest it for anything less than a 3-night cruise. Really. So if you're doing a 3-night cruise, you want to experience all of those restaurants and the shows and the all the different things that they've got laid on for you there. But 4 nights and above, then definitely you could do the dinner and just give up that extra night, which is repeated. However, they offer the brunch, which is available from 10 o'clock. This is a bookable activity, and it does tend to book up quite fast. So a lot of them have been quite popular, and they do seem to go quite quickly when the pre-opening opens for being able to book them. They've changed the menu slightly now. So the brunch used to be unlimited, and it was as much as you can eat of some of the finest things. So they would have the all in sections. There was a huge seafood section, a huge dessert section, one of my favourites. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, they would also have the menu that you could order off as well. But they've changed that now because they're doing things slightly differently. It's now it's kind of a set menu, but you get a choice from each of the things. And again, you can go off menu if you want to slightly. The chefs very amenable, and they'll do whatever, but they have the top chefs in there that are doing things for you, and it's just an adult dining experience with a Disney twist. It's phenomenal. I'd recommend it to anybody.
I cannot wait. I have seen a fair few YouTubers sharing. One, oh my word, didn't get a Mickey waffle. I was like screaming at him on the TV. He said, where's the Mickey waffle? You need a Mickey waffle. If you're going to Paolo, you want the Mickey waffle with the strawberry sauce, just like you get in the theme parks.
Yeah.
I was like, no, how to do Paolo wrong. But each to its own. $45 in my opinion. I've done it before on the Fantasy. I don't think it's a great deal of money for what you get, the experience, the food, and it sets you off in a food coma all day.
It does. But it's a wonderful experience, and it's something that I'd recommend to every adult out there that's sailing. There is a minimum of 18, minimum age of 18 to go in and dine there. But yeah, it's really something that you've got to experience, especially if you like your food like we do. It's something that you've got to try. It's got to be top of that list.
I must admit, I am quite tempted on the fourth night to book Paolo just to have the chocolate souffle.
Oh, yeah.
So I may be trying to persuade people to join me on that. Not mentioning any names at all, but yeah.
Well, that's something we can look at, definitely.
We have quite a few alcoholic tastings booked for this trip.
Yes, one or two.
I think my last count was, let me just count up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, averaging 2 a day on a 4-day cruise.
It's a taster. We've got to experience the different things that are on board.
It's research. We're doing research for everybody else who wants to book this cruise so that Absolutely. They know. And if you're not able to be on this UK staycation, because you've got to be a UK guest to be able to go on it, we're researching for your future Disney cruise that could be going to anywhere in the world, whether it be the Caribbean, Europe, whatever.
Absolutely.
So I'm very excited about all of that. As you've mentioned, we've got the Dream Show, with a variety show. I am being brave. I am going to be bringing gymwear just to burn off some of the Mickey waffles I intend to eat.
I still think you're mad with that one, but yes, you go for that. I'll be cheering you on from the sides.
As I run past you on the deck, just sort of pass me a margarita, will you please?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much for coming along today and having a chat with us about these wonderful staycations that, after 18 months of torture, basically, of not being able to meet people, not being able to go out and socialise, I am so looking forward to being in the company of like-minded people who love Disney, who are on that ship to have the best time ever, to bring some Disney magic to each other. And I cannot wait.
Me neither. And one thing I noticed on the cruises, the cruise that I did previously, probably 60 to 70% of the people on there were brand new to cruising.
Wow.
And new to Disney cruising. So hopefully it's given them a taster to come and try some other ones, because there's some fantastic itineraries out there on all of the 4, soon to be 5 ships. And yeah, for us, cruising is the way to go now. for our holidays. We love the parks, but cruising, we're getting to experience some culture and some various other things and get that Disney magic as well. So.
And my top tip would be get your travel agent to do all the work for you, because they don't charge you any extra and they get to do all the fun stuff, all the planning and booking, while you just sit back and relax and get ready and plan out all the outfits.
Absolutely. We hold your hand right the way through from inception of the thought of going on the cruise right the way through to you getting home. We'll hold your hand right the way through all of it. I mean, I've even been up 5 o'clock every morning UK time to book people activities, to check them into the into the cruise and things, already for 6 or 7 times this summer for these staycations. So it's something that we do because we love it, and will help you enjoy these fabulous holidays.
That's what it's all about. Well, there'll be more information about how you can contact Martin again on our website, disneydreamgirls.com. You'll be hearing lots more about this cruise, I am sure, over the upcoming weeks as we count down and then reflect back on what I hope will be a magnificent time on the high seas.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
But until next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.